Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome everyone for today's Bhagavad Gita study. We are reading from chapter 16. This is a new chapter we are starting with. Just a second. Thank you. The chapter titled as Divine and Demonic Natures. So we will be going through text 1 to 3. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Abhayam Sattva Samsuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthithi Danam Damascha Yagnascha Swadhyayastapa Arjavam Ahimsa Satya Akrodas Tyaga Santir Apishnu Sunam Daya Bhuteshu Alo Luptvam Mardvam Hirir Achapalam Teja Kshama Dhriti Saucham Adro Nati Mannita Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. Word to word meaning. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Abhayam, fearlessness. Sattva Samsuddhi, purification of one's existence. Jnana, in knowledge. Yoga, of linking up. Vyavastitihi, the situation. Danam, charity. Damaha, controlling the mind. Cha, and. Yagnaha, performance of sacrifice. Cha, and. Swadhyaya, study of Vedic literature. Tapaha, austerity. Arjavam, simplicity. Ahimsa, non-violence. Satyam, truthfulness. Akrodaha, freedom from anger. Tyagaha, renunciation. Santihi, tranquility. Apisunam, aversion to fault finding. Daya, mercy. Bhuteshu, towards all living entities. Alo Luptam, freedom from greed. Mardavam, gentleness. Hirir, modesty. Achapalam, determination. Tejaha, vigor. Kshama, forgiveness. Dhritihi, fortitude. Sauchyam, cleanliness. Adrohaha, freedom from envy. Na, not. Atimannita, expectation of honor. Bhavanti, are. Sampadam, the qualities. Daivim, the transcendental nature. Abhijatasya, of one who is born of. Bharata, O son of Bharata. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead says, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. I request everyone to pay more attention because this is the longest purport. So I want to read the whole purport and then we will discuss. Oh, I didn't know that.
Already it is covered up to the fourth paragraph.
So Jnana Yoga Vyavastita is
He
finished.
has covered only fearlessness.
Oh, he covered fearlessness.
Up to four paragraphs. Means 640
So,
paragraphs.
okay, yeah.
Then he has to do it from here.
2, 3, and 4. Then he has to purify his existence. Oh, but I was given 1, 2, 3. So, do I need to cover everything?
No, yesterday also he read all 1, 2, 3, but he covered only first.
So, how do I do it? Like, I read the whole purport now?
No, yesterday what he did.
No, yesterday, okay, but what should I do
Then
now?
you can cover section and one because it is very long.
Yeah, okay.
Second you can cover and accordingly.
Okay. As
So
you.
it is difficult.
No, definitely. Whatever is more practical. Yes. Okay, then we go to the paragraph starting with then he has to purify his existence. Then he has to purify his existence. There's so many rules and regulations to be followed in the renounced order of life. Most important of all, a sannyasi is strictly forbidden to have any intimate relationship with a woman. He is even forbidden to talk with a woman in a secluded place. Lord Chaitanya was an ideal sannyasi, and when he was at Puri, his feminine devotees could not even come near to offer their respects. They were advised to bow down from a distant place. This is not a sign of hatred for women as a class, but it is a stricture imposed on sannyasi not to have close connections with women. One has to follow the rules and regulations of a particular status of life in order to purify his existence. For a sannyasi, intimate relationships with women and possession of wealth for sense gratification are strictly forbidden. The real sannyasi was Lord Chaitanya himself, and we can learn from his life that he was very strict in regards to women. Although he is considered to be most liberal incarnation of Godhead, accepting the most fallen conditioned souls, he strictly followed the rules and regulations of the sannyas order of life in connection with association with women. One of his personal associates, namely Chota Haridasa, was associated with Lord Chaitanya along with his other confidential personal associates. But somehow or other, this Chota Haridasa looked lustily on a young woman, and Lord Chaitanya was so strict that he at once rejected him from the society of his personal associates. Lord Chaitanya said, for a sannyasi or anyone who is aspiring to get out of the clutches of material nature and trying to elevate himself to spiritual nature and go back home, back to Godhead, for him, looking toward material possessions and women for sense gratification, not even enjoying them, but just looking toward them with such a propensity is so condemned that he had better commit suicide before experiencing such illicit desires. So these are the processes for purification. You want me to stop that? You think? Okay, yeah, maybe will be practical. Okay. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Before I begin the class, I beg for all blessings of all assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak for my own purification and for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and my spiritual master, as well as to serve you, all the Vaishnavas. So we are going through the 16th chapter, and this chapter falls in the section of the Jnana Kanda, Jnana part of the Bhagavad Gita. So we know that Bhagavad Gita has Karma Yoga, Bhakti and Jnana Yoga. So yoga here, even in the translation we see it's of linking up. So the yoga which is linking the knowledge, the Jnana Yoga which is linking to the Bhakti. This is the Jnana Yoga what Vaishnavas or the devotees follow. So in coming to the chapter 16, it is entitled as Divine and Demoniac Natures. So Krishna started to explain what are the divine nature and what are the demoniac natures, the qualities. Because he wants to assure Arjuna that he doesn't fall into demonic, but he has acquired the divine qualities. And interestingly, if you see, Krishna says, Bhavanti Sampadam Daivim Abhijatasya Bharata. He says, Sampadam Daivim. But Prabhupada translated Sampadam as qualities. Actually, if you take Hindi speaking or anyone who is very well versed in Sanskrit or coming to the native languages, Sampadam is actually usually referred to wealth. In my own mother tongue as well, Sampadam means wealth. So, but here Prabhupada is translating it to qualities. So, it is also, maybe it's a speculation itself, but it's always good to do philosophical speculation, to see from different angles. So I was thinking, Prabhupada is also indicating that the real wealth of the devotees is to have these qualities and to exhibit these qualities. Because these qualities, they are of the transcendental nature. What Krishna is telling Arjuna now. Now here, this chapter is divided into 3 sections. The first 9 verses talks about divine and demoniac qualities. And verses from 10 to 18 focus on the demonic nature. And 19 to 24, it talks about results of demoniac activities and a choice given to the living entity, whether they want to elevate themselves or whether they want to degrade themselves. Now, one may ask, in Bhagavad Gita, why it is such an important role that, okay, we discuss about divine qualities because we all are aspiring for Krishna Bhakti. But why it is necessary to discuss about demonic qualities? Because this is to see where we are at, where the world is at, and what should be aspiring for. So it is like spotting out the problem. What is the problem? Why the problem is occurring, and how the solution is offered for this problem. So by doing, Krishna is again establishing where are you, where should you go, and how to go. Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana. So again, Krishna is not losing out of the context. He is using the context to make us aware that this material world is not the place that we have to be here. Our real place belongs to spiritual world. And for those to achieve the position in the spiritual world, we have to have qualities which are suitable to live in that place. And now spirit soul is unaffected in all circumstances. But the qualities that is exhibiting is actually the showrunner. Why are we here? Because we have some aversion, we do fault finding, we are afraid of many things, losing things. So this is the nature that we have acquired by associating with the Prakriti. So Daivim Prakriti. So when we associate with modes of material nature, every jiva is covered up with certain qualities. And because of that qualities, everyone is exhibiting. Some people are naturally they're in mode of goodness. Some people are naturally they're in mode of passion. And most of the population, I mean, I also come from there, I am not an exception, is part of the ignorance culture. So we see Krishna is making a distinction. So far he was talking about 3 modes of material nature, and in the 15th chapter he talks about the banyan tree. And in the banyan tree, Prabhupada writes in the purport in the beginning, he says that the extra roots coming out are compared to the activities of living entities. Some are auspicious and some are inauspicious. So why some are becoming auspicious and why some activities are inauspicious? Because of the natures acquired, and that nature is pushing the living entity to engage in certain activities. And throughout the Bhagavad Gita, we have seen different lists of qualities quoted by Krishna. In chapter 2, when Arjuna asked, how does Tita Pragya, how do we identify? Then he quotes some qualities so that we can identify. And then chapter 12, again he lists some other qualities. Chapter 14, when Arjuna asked, how do I know one who has surpassed these 3 modes? Then again he tells about the qualities. And again here he is quoting the qualities, because these qualities are differentiating a person who is transcendentally aspiring and the person who is materialistically degraded in the material world. So these are like our checkpoints so that we can measure our spiritual advancement. And if you read the whole purport, Srila Prabhupada has brought, he connected all the qualities, actually, not most, all the qualities to the Varnashrama system. And he was in Bhagavad Gita 15 chapter 2nd verse, Prabhupada writes, sometimes we find a tract of land is barren for want of sufficient water, and sometimes a tract is very green. Similarly, where particular modes of material nature are proportionately greater in quantity, the different species of life manifested accordingly. So that's the same thing that we see in the Varnashrama system. Krishna tells in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Chaturvanna maya srashtam guna karma vibhagasya tasya kartama apimam vidya akritam avyayam. According to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet non-doer, being unchangeable. So Krishna is telling, I am transcendental to this system, for the Varnashram system, but the living entities which have acquired different modes, because with their association of that kind of work, in the human society, I made a division. I made a division which is helping them to come to the higher platforms of the spiritual life. So human society is not like an animal society, but the purpose of the human society is to elevate the consciousness of the human beings. That's why the Varnashrama system is designed. But any kind of Varnashrama system wouldn't help. There is Asuric Varnashrama system and there is also Daivi Varnashrama system. So what is the difference? Asuric Varnashrama system means the society is divided according to the Varnas and Ashramas. But they don't have Krishna as the center. They have their material ambitions as the center. Which over a period of time, that's what happened to the Daivi Varnashram system. It slowly degraded and it became so materialistic. And especially in India, we see that has transformed us into a caste system. So when Krishna is not in the center, this is the ill effect of that system. But then what is Daivi Varnashrama system? This is described in Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 2nd chapter, 13th shloka. Atha pumbir dvijat shreshta varnashrama vibhagasya swanustistasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, It is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead. To pleasing personality of Godhead is the center. Whoever is engaged in any kind of varna or ashram. So the aim is just to please Krishna. That is the whole idea. Someone is in Grihastha ashram, someone is in Brahmachari ashram, someone is in Vanaprastha, someone is in Sannyas. The whole aim is, center is to please Krishna. Or someone is a Brahmana, someone is a Kshatriya, someone is a Vaishya or a Sudra. Again, the aim is to please Krishna, not their self-interest pursuits. But they are positioned according to their natures. So their nature is utilized in Krishna's service. So Prabhupada writes in the purports in the 1-13 that it is not an artificial domination of one division over another. It is not to create one is superior or one is inferior, but it is to create a pleasant atmosphere that everyone comes for one centering, that is to serve Krishna and to be elevated in their spiritual life. And the Sena section of the people know well why the divisions of caste and ashramas are there. Because the actual purpose is high thinking, self-realization. Nothing, no other purpose. So one may think, so how is this anywhere related to this purports? Again, as I said, when you read the purport, Prabhupada has put all the qualities and he was mentioning how important is this quality for this varna or this ashram. But again, Prabhupada also generalizes, saying that if you are a Krishna conscious person, you will be developing all these qualities. And the similar shloka we read in Bhagavatam 5:18-12. Yasyeti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunes tatra samsete sura harav abhaktasya kuto mahadguna manoratena sati dvatva bahihi. Translation: all the demigods and their exalted qualities such as religion, knowledge and renunciation become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he is adept at the practice of mystic yoga or honest endeavoring of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Again, there is a distinction. Why we have to develop these good qualities? Because these good qualities will please Krishna. These good qualities will help us to progress in our spiritual advancement. Otherwise, just following these qualities, because we see so many people out there in the world, they also exhibit these qualities. Some people, they are book readers. They read a lot, but they don't fall into the category of Jnana Yoga Vyavastita. Some people control, they have self-control, like the yogis and babas. We have seen for the Kumbh Mela festival, there are yogis who are coming and they've been controlling themselves for so many years. But what is their purpose? That's the purpose is mystic yoga. Or someone is very charitable. They open educational institutes, hospitals, they feed the poor. But it's to gain fame and name. See, they are driven by their mental speculations. But here, Prabhupada is again and again, you will see as we read on, that he is emphasizing all these things are to progress in Krishna consciousness, to establish ourselves in Krishna consciousness. This is the purpose that we work on these qualities. Now, in the 5:18-13, it is said that it's a very common question that often comes into our mind, that if someone performs bhakti, automatically some of the good qualities of the demigods are manifested. So does it mean we no need to work for it? Always this question comes to us. So it is the two sides of the coin. It is automatic as well as a practice is required. How is it automatic? Her Grace Urmila Mataji has quoted an example in this context. Walking is natural and inherent quality of a newborn baby. But we still see when the babies are growing, they crawl, they creep, they need a support to stand, and they struggle. They go through a struggle period. And then slowly over many falls, they actually start to practice. So when we are in devotional service, what happens, all these qualities are so natural to the soul. But as we go on this process of devotion, there is a cleansing of heart. And when this cleansing of heart is going, naturally we start to give up all the bad qualities and we start to adopt good qualities. So this is the practice. So it is automatic at the same time, and at the same time practice is required. And do we have a reference for that to say this is automatic and as well as practice is required? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Mama evamso jiva loki jiva bhuta sanatana manasestriyani indriyani prakriti sthani karishyati. The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with 6 senses, which include the mind. So what does it infer? That all the living entities are part and parcel of Krishna. But because we came into the prakriti of this material world, we have covered ourselves. And we are struggling. We got into a conditioning. Now, what happens when someone comes to Krishna consciousness? When one engages in the 9 processes of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dhasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, one's hearts get purified and he starts to understand his relationship with Krishna. Then he revives his Krishna consciousness. So this way, we can understand that this qualities, whatever is listed, is both automatic and as well as a practice has to be done. Now, because I thought that I have to prepare to the whole purport, I did like a tabular form. So maybe I can read it out and then maybe we can go through these qualities. Although I don't have sufficient or no qualification, but still I was amazed by Srila Prabhupada's intelligence. To glorify Prabhupada's intelligence is not of my capacity, but he was so intelligent. He put it in such a way, all the qualities are personalized, and also he was laying out the devotional importance of these qualities. And then Prabhupada quotes, he gives hints in each of the qualities. And if we can catch those hints, we can easily get to the devotional application. So quality 1 is abhayam, fearlessness. So mainly this quality is for sannyasis. Why? Because they have to have in conviction of Krishna's shelter. That anywhere he goes, whatever is the situation, Krishna will protect me. But, and then we come to in ISKCON, we practice bhakti. We also follow the same rule. We are all striving to come to the point that sarva dharma parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. My teacher used to say, surrender is not a one-time process. It's an everyday process. So we may not be at the level of the sannyasis, but we also do it. How? Every day we come to Mangalarati, every day we do chanting, every day we read Srimad Bhagavatam, every day we follow 4 regulative principles. So personalize this for sannyasis, and also it's for all the devotees. Next, the second quality is sattva samsuddhir. This is again personalized for sannyasis. what is it? Purity of consciousness by prescribed rules. So that's what we were reading today, Sattva Samsuddhir. So here the example given is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's strictness and punishing Chota Haridas. But how does it apply in a generalized way? We are guarded by the four regulative principles. We have do's and don'ts in ISKCON. And we are also forbidden to go into illicit activities. Right? So we are protected. Now the third is Jnana Yoga Vyavastita. This is again for sannyasis, cultivation of knowledge and distribution of knowledge. But in ISKCON, again, everyone is, the primary activity is to cultivate knowledge. And also we go out and distribute knowledge. Then 4, Dhanam. Dhanam is especially meant for grihasthas because they lose this possessiveness about the things. So charity is recommended. But even in ISKCON we see everything is spent, all the income is spent to propagate Krishna consciousness in whatever ways it comes. Next, 5th quality is Dhamma. Dhamma is again for grihasthas, self-control, especially in sex life. And also for all other brahmachari, sannyasis and vanaprasthas. But in ISKCON, we follow 4 regulative principles. We follow certain rules of having a proper grihastha life. Then yajnas. This is again recommended for grihasthas, sacrifice. But what do we do in ISKCON? Sankirtan yajna. And no one is an exception. Whether you belong to grihastha, whether you are a sannyasi, whether you are a brahmachari, whether you are kshatriya, vanaprastha, anyone. Everyone is engaged in Sankirtan yajna. Then 7, Swadhyaya. So according to the Vedic culture, it is specially for the brahmacharis. They have to be engaged in the Vedic study. But what do we do? What are we doing here? We are doing Swadhyaya. We are coming here and studying Srila Prabhupada's books. We are going by chapter, verse by verse. So books are the basis. And then we go, next quality is tapas. This is for the vanaprasthas, austerity. Then what does Prahlad Maharaj say about this tapas? He is instructing Hiranyakashipu, not anyone else. He is instructing Hiranyakashipu about the tapasya. Shri Prahlado Vacha Tat Sadhu Manye Suravarya Abdehinam Sadat Samudvigadiyam Asadgrahat Hitatvapatam Grihamandakupam Vanam Gato Yadharim Ashriyata. Prahlad Maharaj is asking Hiranyakashipu, you go to the vana and you practice bhakti. And Prabhupada, very interestingly, he writes, in our Krishna conscious movement, we therefore invite all elderly persons of the world to come to Vrindavana and stay there in retired life, making advancement in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness. So, again, we do tapasya, austerity in our devotional life. Next, Arjavam. This is for all ashrams. Simplicity, being straightforward and simple in our dealings. Ahimsa. This is again for all varnas and ashrams. Non-violence. We follow no meat eating. This is primarily following ahimsa. Also, we follow the highest ahimsa is to educate people and bring them out of the ignorance. And next is Satyam. This is especially for the Brahmanas. Who is a Brahmana who can speak the truth even to his enemy? Such is the quality of a Brahmana. And here Prabhupada writes, it is a quality of the spiritual master. He doesn't compromise. And we see Srila Prabhupada presented Bhagavad Gita as it is, without interpretation. There are so many presentations of Bhagavad Gita, 600 plus. But this is as it is. He never compromised in his presentation. Akrodhas, and again this is for everyone. Freedom from anger even in provocation, to be achieved by patience and determination. We see a classical example of Ambarish Maharaj. He is provoked by Durvasa Muni, but he wasn't. And a similar example of Srila Prabhupada. When he went to La Trobe University in Melbourne, he was giving a lecture and the students were provoking him. It was a very provoking statements they were giving. But Prabhupada stayed very calm and quiet. And a year after, his Grace Amogha Prabhu, I don't know whether he's Prabhupada disciple, I think he's Prabhupada disciple, Amogha Das. So he was saying, one of the professor of the La Trobe University in Melbourne, he bought some books of you, Prabhupada. You know, the same La Trobe University. And Prabhupada said, that's all right. And he forgivingly, he replied. So he was never angry at the people, but he was seeing the condition of the living entities. Then 13, Achapalam, everyone. Steady determination, not to be agitated by any failure. We see Srila Prabhupada, we see Srila Prabhupada disciples, we see contemporary Vaishnavas, how steadily they're determined to push this Krishna conscious movements. Never at the point they were compromised because they have some difficulties. Even we see the COVID situation. But how there is a whole online boom of lectures and association because devotees know how to push Krishna consciousness. COVID has blocked us to associate with each other, but they have so many online forums now. People became devotees because of these online forums, the new devotees. Tejas, and again this is for Kshatriyas, protection. Next, Saucham. Saucham is basically for Vaishyas because they have to be clean in their dealings in the business. But we are also recommended not to do gambling, no gambling, right? And also we do everyday Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting. This is cleansing of the heart. Every day we are doing Saucham. And Neti Manita. This is for Sudras, not expecting honor when they are offering service. But what is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instruction to us? Amanina Manadena. So you offer respects to every devotee, every living entity. Then again, Tyaga. Tyaga is for sannyasis, renunciation. This is primarily saying that using things in Krishna's service. But we are also trying our best to engage everything in Krishna's service. Like an example is we have the camera, we have the phone, we have the mic, we have the laptop. Everything we are engaged in Krishna's service. And then Santir. This is for Brahmanas, Brahmacharis and Sannyasis. To have tranquility, unagitated, peaceful and equipoised. When we are preaching, even though the other person is going to question us, we have to stay calm. If you don't know what is tolerance, we have to get into preaching. Because people will ask all questions which are the most odd questions that you will hear in your life. Some of them are very agitating, but then you will be quiet. You have to be quiet. So see, by preaching, we get this quality. Apisunam. This is aversion to fault finding. We are again and again advised and warned the dangers of fault finding. And this is for all classes of men. Durvasa Muni was finding fault with Ambarish Maharaj. What happened? He was chased by Sudarshan Chakra. And Dhaya Bhuteshu. This is compassion to all living entities. Again for all Varnas and Ashrams. And what do we do here? Sankirtan Yagna. We do book distribution, we do prasadam distribution. Aluptavam. This means freedom from covetousness, greediness. Again, this is applicable for all Varnas and Ashrams. And then Mardavam. This is again for all. This is being gentle to all living entities. When we are preaching, we should show respect. When we are engaging in Sankirtan, we have to be respectful to other living entities. Hirir. This means modesty. No abominable activities. That means we have to follow 4 regulative principles. We take vows before the spiritual master, before the devotees, before the fire. We take vow not to follow 4 regulative principles. Then Dhriti, fortitude, mental and emotional strength. When we practice bhakti, we automatically develop we have this spiritual strength. to tolerate. We see, maybe we are not a very good example, but we see there are so many good examples. Sorry, I am not a good example, but I see so many good examples out there. Adroha, again, freedom from envy. So we are asked not to be envious. Why? Because envy is the quality why we are in this material world. Then Kshama. This is especially recommended for Kshatriyas. But here in devotional life we practice forgiveness. So we see how all these 26 qualities are practiced in ISKCON, in the association of devotees. And I was thinking how important is to follow being part of ISKCON. The root cause of devotional service is Krishna Bhakti, right? But that Krishna Bhakti is nourished in the association of devotees. Being in the association of devotees, it is where we will be corrected. This is where our qualities will be rectified. Say, I can give an example. Today I had a personal experience. I was in the service and I was, somehow was disturbed how the things were going. And my devotee friend is also serving just before me. She's finishing and I am taking over. So I was disturbed how the things went on. So I was telling her that this is not the way, this should not be there. And I was very blunt, and very sharp. And then she was very patiently listening. Okay, Mataji, no problem. We will take over this. We will do this. Okay, next time we can do it. And then she left. And then a thought came to me. If my friend is not there, who will be there to rectify what I am going through? I don't need to be blunt. I don't need to be sharp. I can learn to speak and present in a very pleasing way. Right? This is one of the austerities of speech. To speak in such a way that doesn't agitate others. But oftentimes we do. But how do we know we are doing or we don't do? In the material world, we are accustomed with the demonic qualities. But when we practice in the association of devotees, these qualities will come out, but there is a chance of rectification. There is a place to purify, get purified. That's why practice of devotion and cultivating these qualities is not possible individually, but it is possible only in association of devotees. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.83, it is said, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Haya Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Prema Janma Teho Punya Mukha Anga. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is most essential. So even you are in the bhava, even you are in the prema, but still association of the devotee is so important. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself says, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Khai, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hai. So he says, you can make advancement only in the association of devotees. Otherwise, we cannot form our character. We think that, oh, we got the Bhagavad Gita, we are reading good qualities, okay, I can sit at home and read the good qualities and I will practice it. It's not possible. It is possible only when we are in the association of the devotees. And even Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw Lord Vishnu was asking, what do you want? Then Dhruva Maharaj says, I want association of devotees. I mean, Krishna is there before you. He could ask anything. But he asked for the association of the devotee. Because Prabhupada writes, the spiritual advancement without association of the devotees is like a hallucination. So even we think that these qualities we can develop is not going to be possible. Because we see out there in the material world, many people have these good qualities. But they are not devotees. We are transforming into devotees because of association of devotees. Right? Like, I was thinking of some examples. Who has taken advantage of devotees? Narada Muni's association changed Mrigar. Narada's association changed Chitraketu, right? And Narada Muni's association changed Haryashvas and Shavalasvas, and also Prachinabari. Vidura, he changed Dhritarashtra. And Rishabhadev, Jad Bharat, he changed Rahugana. But those who failed to take association, like Daksha was there in the best of the Vaishnavas' company, Shiva. But he didn't take advantage of it. And then Ambarish was there and Durvasa was there. But Durvasa was needed to chased by Sudarshan, and he travelled all around the world. And then Prahlad and Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad is the topmost devotee. But see the situation of Hiranyakashipu. Or even if we take of Bharat Maharaj, he has fallen down into the deer. Of course, it's for the pastime, and it is to give status as an example and to give us lessons. But what is the lesson? Even you go to the bhava stage without the association, you will fall down. So, association with the material modes is very, very powerful. And we will be affected with the bad association. Only in the good association of the devotees we can cultivate these qualities. Otherwise, it is not possible. And even gopis, who are the topmost devotees of the Lord, even they say Tava Katamritam Tapta Jivanam. They are glorifying the devotees, saying that the devotees are most munificent because they are always singing the glories and pastimes of the Lord. And they are distributing and they are creating good fortune. Because your messages, your words, your glories and pastimes, they are filled with spiritual power. So in conclusion, we see how Krishna is indicating what we have to be working on. And we see how Srila Prabhupada has made it super easy. So the point is, we need to just follow Srila Prabhupada and what has Srila Prabhupada given to us. And so that will assure that we can develop these qualities. These qualities are inherent in us. But these qualities can be developed by being in ISKCON, by following what Prabhupada wanted us to follow. So in a recap, to say what is this chapter about, we discussed about different qualities defined by Srila Prabhupada connecting to Daivi Varnashrama system. And where can we practice? Of course, in the association of devotees following Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you, everyone.